This is Business and Economy Network.
Success is never an accident. It takes hard work, practice. That's a quote from the great footballer Pele. Also, Ronaldo once said too, that it takes me practice and more practice to achieve some of the success and goal I've achieved as a footballer. That's Cristiano Ronaldo. Welcome to your program. My name is Peter Moche. Wherever you are watching, those of you in Abuja, Port Harcourt, Ilori, Kano, Kaduna, Sokoto, wherever you are watching around the world, those of you watching us via the online channels, and those of you watching us in South Africa, London, and also in Ghana, I want to say thank you so very much for watching Business and Economy Network. Like I did said, success is never an accident. It takes practice. And I also want to say a big congratulations to the 9th National Assembly for the inauguration and also for the successful election. Well, we have a lot of work to do. There's a lot of tasks ahead of us to do to make Nigeria great once again. For the program rundown today, for Company in Focus, we are looking at a unique company doing very well in the ICT/telecoms in Nigeria. We have the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of Galaxy Backbone, for Company in Focus. And for special report, we have the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of APT Pensions Funds Managers Limited, doing very well in the pension fund administration in Nigeria. For Spotlight, we have the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of JEDO Investment Company Limited, owners of JEDO Mega City Estate in Abuja, Nigeria. It's going to be an interesting watch. Don't touch the dial. Relax yourself. I am doing my own part to be successful. What about you? I'll be back after this time out.
Galaxy Backbone Limited was primarily set up to harmonize almost, if not all, government ministries, parastatals, and agencies, bringing them under a unifying umbrella to avoid replication and reduce running costs. Mr. Yusuf Kazwari, the MD CEO, well grounded in ICT and has run with the vision of Galaxy Backbone since it started. In a chat with the Business and Economy Network crew on ICT support for SMEs in Nigeria, the MDCO is delighted to announce to Nigerians on the positive impact of information and communication technology to the development of small businesses in Nigeria and its value chain system. Galaxy Backbone is a one-stop shop for all ICT-related matters as it concerns the federal government of Nigeria.
The e-government master plan was launched officially, was unveiled. Now this, because of the importance of this particular document, this particular framework, it took almost 3 to 4 years of deliberation in council, and then maybe about 2 years prior to that, of workshops, of expert groups meeting, of training and so on to come up with it. But it is important because it is the next phase. It's the only thing that can guarantee the next phase of the evolution of this country as a whole. Following that master plan can be the panacea to a lot of the problems we have identified as bedeviling this country. Whether it's a lack of transparency in government operations, whether it's corruption, whether it's security, whether it's financial sustainability, whether it's even environmental sustainability. Whatever you touch, you find that the availability of data in a structured way will help reveal insights that will support any one of these sectors in the way it is today. As we speak today, wars is no longer about the number of men and number of tanks that you have. It's more about how structured the data you have available to you is and how well you can use it and how well is it at the disposal of the men who make decisions on the ground. And that's what the e-government master plan is all about. It's about ensuring that the average Nigerian, which I would say are very tech savvy, you find a person, an old lady, barely educated, but she knows how to use a smartphone to talk to her children or grandchildren, see their pictures, or even run a bank account. Nigerians are tech savvy, they're very, very aware, and their affinity for technology is unlike any other. So you find a citizenry that is used technology to buy things on a daily basis, used technology to write Young people now no longer, all have use Uber within Nigeria. Everything is on their phones now. Very few people know the way to the bank. Very few people know their relationship manager. So that's the same thing they would expect, the same kind of standard and expectations they will have for government services now going forward. They will expect government services to be online. They will expect government services to be available 24/7. They will not expect you to pay. They will expect everything to be delivered. They will expect their CFO to come by post or for them to print it on their printer at home. But to be able to do that, then is the next evolution, that all the MDAs must be able to be within a certain level, must have a framework that ensures that they communicate with each other, that ensures that the processes run from one MDA can cross into another MDA and all the way out into the citizen environment. Businesses expect that. And so that's what the e-government master plan is. It's really a game of catch-up. In South Korea, they have an organization that manages what they call the integrated data center, which is what Galaxy is doing. We have the national data center, government backup data center, a government data center, and a backup data center for that purpose. They have the same organization is responsible to ensure that secure communications across different MDAs happen. So Galaxy has already started the journey. So the platform for that is ready to take off. What I mean ready at its most basic level. Of course, there will be additional investments to refine it, to take it to other nooks and crannies, to make it particular for certain situations. But as I speak to you today, I can say comfortably Galaxy connects more than 90% of all MDAs onto the onegov.ng platform. We host at least data. We host the websites of more than 350 government MDAs on our own platform. Most key government processes you never hear about are hosted on Galaxy Backbone because, of course, you don't go around bragging. But a lot of the recruitments that take place and things like that are all done from Galaxy platform. Any recruitment you see done by the Federal Civil Service online is done on our platform from out of our data center. Any driver's license you that has ever been printed on has been on our platform. The harmonization of ID initiatives between various government MDAs that generate ID data and NIMSI is done on our own fiber network. So it's been there. We've been quietly providing this. In addition to that, right now government has an IP telephony, which is like a PABX across government. We connect more than 10,000 government MDAs with IP phones like this, ministers in different locations across this country. Galaxy, when it was created, was asked to take over all existing infrastructure owned by all government MDAs and create them into a common platform. That formed the nucleus of some of our infrastructure. In addition to that, we were also given the mandate to take over existing projects that were in the pipeline and harmonize them and come up and continue the deployment. So most of our infrastructure came from the second source as well. These two sources, that's taking over existing fiber infrastructure. So we took over the Kuja fiber, some fiber here and there, and so on and so on. It was a medley here, neither here nor there. And then there were two projects. There was the NICEP project, which is called the National Information Communication and Education Program, which was by one of the ministries, then now defunct, which consisted, that's the one I told you that we were able to deploy 5,000 VSATs. It was targeted, it was at an advanced stage with a VSAT hub and 5,000 VSAT. Then there's a second project called NICTIP, National ICT Infrastructure Backbone. Within the context of that, we were able to redesign it so that the data center element and the fiber network we currently have was deployed via that project. We are now poised for the second phase of that project. The first project of NICTIP, we had the data center, which we call the legacy data center, and then we built the new tier 3 data center here in Abuja, and we built an Enugu backup data center. And then in addition to that, we were able to roll out about almost 2,000 kilometers of backbone that linked us directly between Abuja and Lagos and Port Harcourt. So we were able to get to the coast and create our own backbone. In addition to in doing that, we were able to traverse 13 states to get to the coast. So we're able now to bring our own backbone into the country. Now, for the next phase of NIPTIC 2, we'll have another backup data center. So by the time we're done with NIPTIC 2, we will have a backup data center in Enugu, another one in Abuja, and one in Kano. The resilience is necessary because if you're hosting critical data of organizations that they require to run 24/7, then you must be able to cater for situations where one location cannot be online. So what happens? So we create 3 backups, so just to be safe and not sorry. And then we roll out maybe another 3,000 kilometers. And by the time we're done with phase 2, we should be at federal secretariats in a minimum of 30 states across the federation. So our own fiber backbone linking federal secretariats and other MDAs that pass through. And then in partnership with other service providers, we will now be in a position to cover almost all MDAs. Where we can't reach, we're in a position to do swaps with other service providers where we have our own capacity and so on. So that's the model we've been using to deploy this. And let me mind you, besides these infrastructure investments, and let me explain clear, we are a limited liability company set up by government, primarily like I mentioned for that reason that we didn't. So nobody in Galaxy gets paid from government. Our salaries are not budgeted. We invoice government and they pay us for services we render. So in the same vein, we are being encouraged to provide the same services to the private sector. Because the amount of infrastructure we have in place, we're laying 96 core fiber across this country. How many cores does a government MDA or the whole of government need? 2, 3, 4? So we're in a position now to share these services with other, especially small and medium telecoms, ISP type companies who want to provide services on a regional or on a location-based basis. They don't have to recreate the infrastructure. They just leverage already what we have created, and we're able to support them by providing service to them. So that's how we bring value to the whole industry and the whole ecosystem. And we're expected to leverage and sweat these assets to become a successful company just like any other one. So I try as much as possible to get organizations to come and see me as a partner rather than a competitor. And that's why I kept referring to swaps and opportunities to do that. Because if you see that we're not from two rival, historical rivals in terms of investment profile, then you're more prone to come to me with a view of an open hand to say, listen, look, I have this, you're more open with me, and so on and so on. And Galaxy, and we've witnessed a lot of success in that direction. So Galaxy is more about co-opetition. We have to compete in some instances for our business, even within government. It's not in all instances we have this blank mandate. There are certain instances where it's not directly within our mandate, but we also bid so that we're able to demonstrate value. And government expects us to be much more competitive, to be able to justify why they're giving it to us. But at the same time, to use this huge amount of infrastructure we have to also cooperate with other providers, get them not to build in the same place we are building, with the opportunity that it's open access for them to come and use with us in a shared manner. So cooperation is the key word.
Dr. Abubakar Gumi is the MD CEO of APT Pensions Limited, a well-skilled, experienced and well-traveled individual, and has been in the finance industry for decades. Little wonder the level of success recorded within a short while of setting up APT Pension Limited. Though the industry has been challenged, the firm is excited considering Nigerians now have a better knowledge of what pension fund management scheme means and its reforms. APT Pension is hopeful more and more Nigerians will embrace the pension fund administration, which is geared to enhance a better tomorrow for Nigeria and Nigerians, as it's been recorded across the globe.
I've spent some time in NNDC, I've spent some time in practice. I've also spent some time in the banks, which ended up as managing director of Assurance Bank. In fact, I gave the name to Assurance Bank when we recapitalized it with Nikon. And later I joined Akintola Williams. And in 2000, I left Akintola Williams to concentrate on my own investments, which culminated in me now being the managing director of APT Pension. So our group is actually a finance group. We have the APT Securities, which is a stockbroking firm, stockbroking stroke issuing. And it generated APT pension. There is also the Bureau de Change. We also have the Ariwa Metal Construction in Kaduna. So I'm a board member of all the 3 companies. I'm also the managing director of APT Pension. The acceptance of Nigerians for fund managers is actually improving. There's still a lot of challenges, but with time and also communication, more Nigerians are coming to understand what pension is all about, and they are accepting the principles of it and the rationale behind it, and more are joining it. And it is an industry that is going to grow to a very big industry. You are aware that there are some countries from where we copied the system that are operating it, and they are very successful, like Argentina, UK even, Sweden, Australia, Canada, even the US. These countries, even India, South Africa, they're all doing a similar thing. And it is very successful there, so it will be very successful here in Nigeria. Those organizations, whether public sector or private sector, that accept the scheme, they allow their staff to appoint a pension fund administrator, and they contribute money. According to the law, now 8% for the employee and 10% for the employer, so that's 18% of a certain portion of the emolument, not all the gross. The basic housing allowance and transport allowance, a percentage of that is to be contributed to the pension fund administrator. And the pension fund administrator doesn't handle the money. It is the pension fund custodian. There are 4 custodians, and there are 20 pension fund administrators. Now, 20, but there are also closed pension fund administrators. But for our purpose, we'll make do with the 20 that are serving the public. But there are 4 pension fund custodians, and they keep the money. The pension fund administrator will administer. He brings in the money, which is paid direct into the custodian, and he manages it. In other words, he invests it. And he will be the one to determine the rate of return that will be generated. And again, he is the one that administers the payment to retirees. I represented Akintola Williams Deloitte at the chamber, and that is the reason why I'm even now the second deputy. But of course, when I became the MD, I also asked APT also to join the chamber, and we are a member of the chamber, and I am representing both organizations up till today. Now, the chamber has grown. When I joined, it was a small organization, but it has now grown. And of course, the advantages of going into Chamba are many, but they are purely commercial. And then you mix with people, you get ideas, it facilitates traveling, trade fairs, both within the country and outside the country. And also you go for training and a lot of other things. And it also influences, to some extent, government thinking on how certain things should be done. Because we are actually expanding our operations, and very soon we are also going to be looking at even the budget of the federal government and analyzing it and advising the government.
Haji Dr. Ali Wamako is the Chairman Chief Executive Officer of JEDO Investment Company Limited, located in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, Nigeria. He also doubles as the Deputy National President of the Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria, REDAN. Haji Wamako is in the business of developing comfortable, affordable housing for Nigerians, with special attention to the middle-income earner. The CEO took our time to share with us those responsible for quackery and possible ways to checkmate them in the industry. JEDO Investment has over the years developed and delivered not less than 1,000 housing units, thereby contributing its quota to reducing the ever-increasing rate of housing deficit in Nigeria.
I am from Sokoto State. I school in Wamoko, my village, now a local government. And I graduated in Sokoto State Polytechnic. Before I proceed to Lagos, when I became a custom officer, I took a part-time program to study business administration and financial management at School of Management Studies, Kilometer 24 by Degree Expressway. And during my stay in the custom, I attended several courses. I've been in the intelligence unit of the custom for a very long time, and that gave me the opportunity to attend so many courses in the intelligence sector. I'm a graduate of accounting. I don't know anything about building, but it's fate. Destiny brought me into building industry. And I'm the Chiroma of my village, Chiroma Wamako, which is a traditional title, as the apparent heir to the throne. And Fulani by tribe, practice Islam as my religion. I think that is, and I'm married with kids. I have about 10 kids. God bless me with husband. As you rightly mentioned, the Land Use Act is obsolete. It is very difficult to refill it. Maybe you don't know how they refill this Land Use Act. You see, there must be a two-thirds majority from each state assembly before this Land Use Act is being refilled. And you should also take into cognizance the governors, land is wealth. And the governors are interested in this land. So they will never allow that thing to be refilled nationally. That is the truth. It has been there since 1978. It's obsolete, really, but to refill it is difficult. Because before you can get a two-thirds majority in a state, you have to get the consent of the government. And it cannot be possible. Otherwise, it shall be refilled by now. Everybody knows it is obsolete. It is not a new case. It's obsolete, that is true. But it's the reality on the ground. You see, rightly, I will tell you yes, because in REDAN, our president always encouraged everybody, to go for extra courses on project management. You see, as we are Nigerians, if you call somebody or you employ somebody to work, he will be thinking of what he's going to get, not what is going to be the right thing for him to do. You give responsibilities. You can't do everything you alone. You must give responsibility to other people. And if the responsibilities they fail, you are the one who fail. So the issue of managerial skills must be something that you do it day to day. Are you getting better? To be able to accomplish and maybe override some of those things. But the true situation is that so many people you give trust, they tally around with the trust, and they didn't give you back what you give to them.
Well, I want to say a big thank you so very much to you all viewers, and most of you have called in, and those of you who have made inquiries concerning our program, Business and Economy Network. I want to say thank you so very much. Keep watching this program on all the various platforms and channels where it is being viewed all around Nigeria, around the world. I want to say thank you for all of you who have also called to comment, criticize. That's why we're here, to serve you much more better. Like I did say at the beginning of the program, success is never an accident. It takes perseverance, focus, and also so many things that makes one even want to go off the way. But success definitely will smile at you. To be successful, you need to be painstaking to do a lot of things. The program definitely will make a return same time next week, God's willing. Stay blessed and be a success-minded person.